Good evening, everybody. By forecaster Jay Rapp with you in the Breaking Weather Center and the USA Severe Weather Network Center. I got Isaac Shaw here with me tonight. We're tracking this line of showers of these little thunderstorms that continue tonight with very large hail. We've been having several reports of very large hail this evening, so up to 4 inches and some tornadoes. So right now, I'm going to turn things over to Isaac.
Okay, so as of right now, we have several supercells we're still keeping an eye on. So instability overall right now is on the downward trend. So I will point out that we're transitioning. We're not necessarily looking at the environment where we're probably going to end up seeing all that softball-sized hail. Probably not likely, because all the storms have already grown upscale. But right now, again, these storms are several tens of thousands of feet off the ground where how tall these thunderstorms are. But again,
Yeah.
the updrafts are slightly weakening. We still got some storms being monitored for maybe upwards of ping pong ball size hail. Some of those warnings that we have going on down there. But I will point out that we have definitely looks like that warning there where you have the two like mesocyclone icons. Looks like that's where you got a stronger downdraft that might be enhancing some of that low-level shear with that. So, I mean, definitely the way things are looking, there is weak rotation with a couple of those. So, I mean,
Look
it
at
would
that.
be no surprise to find some of these going. While it would be no surprise to find a tornado or two with this. Again, there's some weak rotation with this, but I do expect a greater concern for damaging winds and maybe isolated tornado or two. The chance of tornadoes is low. That's why the folks at the Storm Prediction Center have decided to replace the existing tornado watch going into 9 p.m. I think to address most like maybe the greater concern for wind gusts potentially over 60 mile per hour and potential for 1 to 2 inch hail, mostly in that range with these particular supercells. And again, the new severe thunderstorm watch rather will go into effect until 2 a.m. We don't expect the severe weather concern to persist much into 2 a.m., but I mean, it would be no surprise to find a couple more severe warned cells, again, maintaining this environment. Looks like we got some strengthening downdrafts further aloft. And again, it's just along this shortwave trough. And again, we've had some really intense lift with this as we went throughout the afternoon.
Yeah,
Again, all
we
that
have.
saturated air above we had some low-level heating. So again, we've had a couple reports of tornadoes. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go back to the Storm Prediction Center site and their storm report trends we have had just up to now. See if there's anything updated with this. But most of what we're seeing here is hail reports. We've had a couple damaging wind reports and two two reports of tornadoes right now. This would be, I was going to say that is pretty much close to 6 p.m. or just a couple hours ago. I'm okay. That's the plot. I'm still trying to see what the okay, today's storm report trend. But yes, I will point out we've had a couple reports of tornadoes along this cold front. And again, just we can see that we still have some enhancement with that low level shear. And again, just it's because of all that energy further aloft that is mixing down at the ground. We have some strengthening downdrafts. And again, we had all that upscale growth with thunderstorms that took place early in the afternoon. And that's where you get all that saturated air in your thunderstorm, in your supercell. Got really super cooled. And, that's, sometimes in the hail growth cycle, you can get,
Yeah,
you'll get
very large hail
several,
like down here.
yeah. And again, sometimes what you get is that, there are very tiny water droplets, super cool droplets in your thunderstorm that get caught in that updraft, rapid rise upward movement, and all in that air is saturated. So, and again, this is this is mostly water droplets in your air parcel, and you get a whole lot of lift. So that it's you got your buoyancy in there. And again, with the much cooler air further in place, further aloft, you know how steam rises in cooler air. That's where you get a strong updraft. Again, you get all that shear rotate. You get that updraft to rotate a bit. And again, that saturated air eventually supercools and it becomes solid. That's where you get hail. And then the hail eventually falls near the ground, but still it's driven by the wind further aloft. And it can get caught in several different cycles. And that's eventually how your hail gets very large. In some cases, you got reports of baseball, and in some cases we got reports maybe upwards of softball size. I think we still got to see what the Weather Service is officially confirming with this, but we've had a few hails estimated to be the size maybe around an apple. But again, this is something you probably commonly see, but it's still fairly not common throughout the year, where you get again and that lead shortwave developing out in the Rockies. You got all that cool and dry air associated with it, and it converges over that right environment. That you get all that moisture, the dew points, just some of that moisture that advects from the Gulf, or like other common sources of moisture, the low-level moisture particularly, which that would probably most definitely be the Gulf. I mean, obviously, generally these are drier areas on average.
Yeah, then we got severe weather to deal with tomorrow too, don't we?
Yeah, of course. And again, this is dry line convergence. I will point out the lead upper low, the upper closed low. This is a very strong upper level disturbance. We got that vorticity max, and again, this becomes a little bit more negatively tilted. This lead trough heading into tomorrow. So what that leads me to think, some of these same areas, again, these are not highly populated regions in sections of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and just but again, I will point out that some urban vicinities such as Abilene, Amarillo, Lubbock, I'm just throwing some just places, just still some places even like Oklahoma City, just much of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas will probably experience thunderstorms heading into tomorrow. Probably some instances of strong to severe storms, but I think the greatest severe potential you get tomorrow.
I got a message, Isaac.
Yeah, I was going to say, is everyone taking precautions to be safe? Yeah, of course. We are keeping everyone updated, especially most of you on our audience base. But again, what I will point out is hopefully everyone is receiving the warning, and especially you folks in rural parts of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. It's always important, to have multiple ways to receive weather information.
Here's the tornado threat tomorrow. Before we're on here, there's a hatched area. Now that means significant tornadoes, right?
Yeah, so let me clarify that for you. So 10% of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point within there, basically within 250 miles, that is a 100% chance. Pretty much they're confident that there's going to be several tornadoes within there. But then when you get that hatched area, that's where the conditions are just right, the climatic environment and that dry line convergence. And that's where the lead edge of that vorticity max, a more negative tilt, that right freezing you get aloft. And again,
then we got wind threat tomorrow over 15%.
Yeah, but again, let me clarify with that tornado potential there. There's that potential again that there could be a stronger tornado within there. So not necessarily like confined to that particular hatched area, I will point out as well. But that's where the that's where the tornado potential is going to be your highest, especially across, again, eastern parts of the Texas and Oklahoma, western parts of the Oklahoma Panhandle. Again, mostly like areas around Altus and Elk City, points west, adjacent parts of the Texas Panhandle. That's where I think your greatest concern is for maybe one of the, a brief window where you could have some enhanced low level shear, given that upper vorticity max and again that right convergence environment. But what we're more in question about is low level moisture. And I mean, we're probably we're definitely seeing favorable dew points. And well into the 60s. Again, generally that's good where you get that surface heating, that surface lift, and that can really drive your surface-based upscale convection. And generally that, we also want to see, again, are the winds strong enough at the ground as well that really drive that moisture and
Here's the hail threat.
Yeah, and again, what I will point out is, again, we're going to be watching what the folks in Norman do heading into midnight fairly closely. What I think they're going to most likely do is they're going to they might we're going to analyze some more of this convection allowing model guidance to suggest like is everything trending the way it's going to be, and if they might slightly, if they make some small adjustments to that enhanced risk area, I think that's where your ingredients are probably the highest with that. But again, if I don't expect right off the bat that we're looking at upgrades at this point. JD,
You never can roll it out.
And I will be right back.
Okay, I'm going to talk over the hail threat. All right, everybody. I'm going to do a little talking while Isaac's gone for a second. Here's our potential for hail threat. Hail could be a big concern tomorrow like we did tonight. We have a 30% hatched area for very large hail. That means we can see hail in 25 miles. You can see hail in 30 miles of point. You can see some very large hail tomorrow. We can see some very significant hail. And that's going to lead to a lot of problems. And the damage of wind threat's only at 15%, so that's just not. It's still strong, but the tornado and all of that's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do while we're waiting on him to get back is I'm going to go to some of the models that the forecasters look at here, and I'm going to look at the HER model and see what we got in place for tomorrow. Now we'll check the significant tornado parameters. Now, this is if you can get a tornado going. And this is just some of the tools that we use here. And I'll even make it that way so you can see it there. All right, here we go. So we'll start at 1 o'clock in the morning. None. But see, look what happens tomorrow afternoon. By 7 a.m. tomorrow, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then you're starting to see these colors. And yeah, actually there's potentially some rotating storms tomorrow, and that's 12 o'clock. But look what happens. We're starting to get some colors. Yeah, even some effuses are jumping out too. So definitely there's potentially some rotating storms tomorrow, and we definitely have to be keeping that in mind for the potentially of for tornadic weather. So we definitely got to keep that in mind. So right now, this is our tornado thing, and you can see we just about maxed out on this. When you get to the pink color, you got a 6 almost, so that's pretty strong supercell composite. Now this is what drops your tornadoes, not always, but half of the time. See, this goes in for the Mar, and you can just see these colors are going up. So definitely, we got storms tomorrow. Definitely, that's not a problem because you got orange. That's a 3, a 4, and a 5. So once you get the biggest number you get, it's bad. because here we are 5, and then you'll probably end up getting over 6. So that almost a 7 on scale there. So these storms do have a punch to them, and there's even some. I think Mephistius is jumping out too, so that's a 9. So technically, these storms do have a big punch to them tomorrow for rotating. Now, updraft ferocity. Now, this is another reason what we do.
Hopefully you can, or it's probably just my end. I'm sorry, it's my mic. I might have to refresh again.
Alright, here's the, okay, updraft ferocity. You got storms going, here's 4 a.m., 3 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Zulu time, and you can see tomorrow afternoon, we're starting to get these little these little cells here. These could be, in the yellow color, are very decent storm makers. We definitely have to watch them for storms develop. So storms could have formed tomorrow. I haven't. All right. I'm just looking at some of the weather tools, Isaac.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I saw some of that.
All right. Since you were gone, I'll show you what I looked at on the significant tornado parameters. So here's what we got here. We'll go past. Look at here. Look at the colors tomorrow, Isaac.
Yeah, just my inference with those. I mean, that's given a lot of the tornado fuel you're getting at the ground, given the highly enhanced low level shear you're getting with that vortex and that tri-line convergence. So that's again the environment where there's I think we could have some more enhancing with that low level moisture because of the winds out ahead of that. That drive all that moisture. And again, that low-level surface heating, that's another thing that they watch, the SB capes, and it's generally just a combination, so it gives you an estimate from 1 to 10. Sometimes it maxes out more than 10.
But here's supercell composite.
It gives you an average and calculation. Sometimes, again, normally when you get in that
look at this
color, yeah.
9 on the scale.
That's your combination of lift, instability, and shear further aloft as well with the supercell composite. Yeah.
So you think we'll have any adjustments on the wrist tonight, or you think they'll just keep it what it is?
Obviously, depends on that warm front. If if that clears away from greater amounts of low-level moisture, I think they may adjust the size of that enhanced risk area. But if anything, it probably won't be like a moderate or high or anything like that, unless we get those specific mesoscale developments you're heading into tomorrow, more broadening out and whatnot. So,
yeah. But anyway, here's the here's some of the sounding. Look.
So I want to kind of touch on that sounding data. Looks like at the surface you get quite a bit of instability just looking at the plot there, and again the dew points are right at 60. So what that tells me is that we got favorable surface dynamics there, but the hodograph is something that I'm also interested in. Looks like we got quite a bit of holicity with that. Again, impressive low-level shear. I will say the surface cape is in the 2000s. So I mean, I think the SB capes, that's kind of big for your tornado potential, but also you can see that particular possible hazard type indication there is more weak tornado, because you can see the bottom two vectors there you get with with the wind direction and everything. I think mostly what you're looking at there is speed shear. So, I mean, potential for a tornado with that, but again, it's mostly just your updrafts. You're probably not getting much mixing at the ground there in terms of low level shear and everything. It looks like that will probably trend higher. Closer you get to that dry line, that vortex.
Well, I mean, you want me to just keep an eye on things tonight and pop on if I need to?
Yeah, that would always be wise. Just you know, keep an eye on conditions, see you know how this data trends, and if there's any
If
more
that goes,
local scale headlines that need covered.
if that goes to a tornado warning, I'll still pop on anyways.
Okay, and again, I will point out these are mostly rural areas. Still good
Mm-hmm.
to have a way to receive information in regards to your particular area, and still good to follow national scale developments here. Like,
And
obviously,
we'll be tracking tomorrow, won't we?
of course.
Well, we'll continue to keep you updated. I'm Vice Forecaster JD Rapp. We will continue to pop on tonight if we need to.